So as you can see, workbench is done. Now I'm missing a lot of footage of finishing off this top because, well, I had a hard drive crash. When I mean crash, I didn't mean the hard drive went bad. I mean it literally fell to its death off of my standing desk. It's actually right behind you there, behind the camera. So I'm missing a lot of footage. So I'm going to walk you through what we've got going on here. And then I'm going to stitch footage in that I do have so you can see what's going on. So now, one of the questions I've had was, or not really a question, but a comment, was it would have been cool if this top could be on some type of like thread rods. That way I can level it later. Reason why I didn't do that is because I'm going to be clamping to this edge and torquing on it. So I don't want to do that. But what I did is that on the panels here, when I had these panels, there's 2x4s. You know, you have the main 2x4 going across the front here, and then there's 2x4s on the back side of that. And what they do is they reach to the top, and then they screw in from the inside out to the 2x4s here. That way I can pull those screws out and I can level this. Now, this side is attached here. This side here is actually attached this way. Just because the way the grain worked, it just worked out that way for me. Now what I had to do is I had to put some weight onto the panels because, well, it's just me. So I loaded up a bunch of reloading brass and some ammo, and it gave me a ton of weight down. So that way, when I'm screwing from the bottom up, it wasn't picking that panel up. And then I just slowly worked down. And then when I had this finished off, I worked over. Now, when I was done, I still had some problems with a little bit of waviness because, well, these panels they were planed separately. So what I did is I attached wood along the wall here. And then I came out and attached a rail in front. And I came back with that jig and I planed out this top one more time and made a total mess down here. But that's just what I had to do. Now I couldn't reach the back here on both sides because that jig doesn't go all the way up to the wall. Well, it went all the way to the wall, but the router doesn't make it all the way to the wall. So I had to later come back through with a belt sander and just sand that off. I then took the belt sander with a 50 grit belt and went through and made sure this was as level as I could get it. Came back through with a 180 grit belt to smooth it off. And then I came through with just the regular quarter sheet sander. Started off at I think it's like 200 grit. And then went to 320 to get a nice smooth surface. Then I did urethane. But before I did the urethane, I actually had to fill in some cracks here, right? Because there were some cracks, and I knew that was going to happen from before, and I wasn't too worried about it because I'm looking for that kind of, industrial look. So I filled in some cracks. There's also some areas in here that I put slivers of wood in and then cut them off and made sure they were nice and tight and smooth. That all happened before sanding, obviously. So that was all filled in. And then I did the urethane. It was 4 coats of urethane I did. It's a floor urethane. It was a fast drying, so it was 2 hours. I would just do a coat of urethane, 2 hours later, come through, do another coat of urethane, and so on, until I had 4 coats. Now we knew the urethane was going to yellow a little bit. We weren't too worried about that. We wanted to keep this as natural as possible, but the urethane was going to yellow, which actually worked out really nice because you can see a little more grain. It came out, the grain came out. There was a urethane that I could have used. It was a 4-hour dry time. It was $25 more a gallon. It wouldn't have yellowed, but for 25 bucks, we were perfectly fine with a little bit of yellow it put into it because it made it a really nice color. Now the bottoms here. This was a stain and urethane combination that I had left over from another project from a few years ago. So we stirred that up, stained the legs, stained the shelves. It's a pecan. So it really gives you a nice little contrast between the two. I was originally going to cap the legs here. And, well, I didn't. I looked at it and went, I'm fine with that. I want to see these knots. These is really cool looking wood. So I didn't. So I just capped the shelves here and then this piece here and called it good. I was going to cap right here all the way around, and I went, I'm good with this. It kind of gives me a little bit of a live edge. Now when I was milling this side, I had a problem with the jig and the router crashed into the top, spinning, and it just gouged right in. Now I tried to thin this thing out, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. I went, I'm done, flipped it over, and it was all good to go. I just finished off routing it. It was nice. Now, since this was the bottoms, I didn't really worry about whether there was going to be gouges from nails and stuff like that. A little bit more filling, not that big of a deal. Now, I know some people were wondering about why I did not attach this to the wall. Now, I have a lot of weight because I have my reloading brass down the bottom, some ammo down here. It's got a lot of weight on it. This thing is not moving. So I wasn't worried about that, you know, attaching it to the wall because of that. The reason why I didn't attach it to the wall is because from about here all the way around to the corner behind you, outside wall. This basement is built off of ICF, which is foam block with concrete in it. There's mounting strips in here. So when we put the drywall up, it's screwed in there, but then with the drywall finish, you can't see it, and stud finders don't find it. That's why I didn't attach it. I didn't feel like messing with that. Now, this rail is actually attached to the wall here, and you know, this is so things don't roll off the back. I attached it to the wall instead of the top for two reasons. Number one, I didn't want to figure out where it was, and it's tough to get the drill up into the back. So I didn't want to mess up, so I left it alone. I went to the wall. Second reason why I did that is, well, I was telling you the ICF blocks, they're supposed to be every 6 inches. There's a screw here, which is the beginning of that wall. And then I couldn't find the strip between here and here, and they're supposed to be every 6 inches. But from here you can see they're about every 6 inches. Every 6 inches till around here. It's a little off. That's okay. I now see that. I don't need that many screws to hold these 2x3s. I was going to do 2x4s. 2x4s were about $8 a board. They went up about $1.50. I looked over and they had these 2x3s for $4 a board and went, that's what I'm going to do. For an inch, save 50%, I was good. So I did these 2x3s up here. I urethaned them and put them up, screwed them in. Eventually, I'm going to want to put pegboard here, right? So we have the pegboard over there that you're used to seeing. I'm not going to do regular pegboard, but that's a surprise for later. This whole bench is going to be upgraded over time. Now, you can see I have the Real Avid Master Vise right here. This is mounted to some butcher block, and then I clamped that butcher block to this corner. And the corner's a new thing that you didn't see either because I lost that footage. I decided later I wanted a corner. So I put a corner in. And as you can see, I've got this thing in there. I'm 250 pounds. It's not really moving anywhere. It's good. Later on, there's going to be a different mounting system onto the bench, so that way I can put things different places. Story for another time. Upgrades. We're going to be doing upgrades to this bench. We got the base build done, and what I got planned is going to be really cool for there. Now the last thing, you're used to seeing the kitchen table, right? Because you can see here's the blue board that I film on when I do the overhead stuff. Well, this, and the reason why I call it a kitchen table is literally a kitchen table. I got this at a thrift store. I raised it up. There's some 4x4s here. And then what I did is I put some wheels on this. This just happened, today's Monday, and I'm filming this. This happened Saturday. So now I've got the kitchen table here. As I bang the 3D printer over there. So now I can do videos like this, give you a completely different camera angle. Now, these things, and I'll throw a picture up there, these wheels, they actually clamp down. Well, I flip the little things up, this whole bench goes down about a 1/2 inch, and it's on the floor, and it's perfectly stable. So now you guys are going to see some new camera angles. Instead of just seeing that pegboard, and I may do some videos going that way in the future, now you can see me this way. I've done some videos already where I'm working here, and you can see that way, just to change some things up. So what do you think? Is this a thumbs up? Thumbs down, or it's just a bench? Let's hear you in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Hope you're staying safe out there, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.